Lebanon is in a crisis and the world needs to hear about this.
There was drones since the beginning of the day. It was very loud, it was very intense. It sounded like something was going to happen soon.
Imagine you have minutes to leave your house, to abandon everything you've worked all your life for, your business, your house, your family, your village.
The future of Lebanon is very unknown. عم ينزحوا Beirut, like it's Nakba, really it's Nakba.
Lebanon, a place so close to my heart, I knew I had to come and see firsthand the realities on the ground. This is a country I've visited over 20 times, and each time I've seen a different side of its resilience and beauty. Lebanon's struggles are well known, but my past visits made me almost forget. Today I am here in Brumana, Lebanon, which is right on the outskirts of the city of Beirut. As you can see behind me, it is a little bit hazy today, and on this side we have what's called the suburb of Beirut known as Dahieh. And this is the area that has been getting hit with airstrikes for nearly 2 weeks now, since the things in Lebanon really started to escalate. At any moment during the day, there are airstrikes coming down with a very short notice given from the Israeli army, and between 5 to 30 to 40 minutes later, then an airstrike will come down in these different areas all around here in Beirut. It is sad to see Lebanon in the state that it is in, but I'm going to be sharing with you guys in this video what it is like right now in Lebanon. As soon as I arrived this time, it became clear I was in for an intense journey. Over the coming week, I'd be witnessing daily hardships, facing immediate dangers up close, and joining efforts to bring some relief to those in need. To understand why Lebanon finds itself once again in the middle of an intense, horrifying armed conflict, you have to understand this tiny country's troubled past and long history of struggles. A country that has gone through both civil wars and wars with their neighboring countries like Syria and Israel. A place so beautiful, yet so close to the next crisis, seemingly at any moment. If you look back at a timeline of Lebanon over the last few thousand years, its location of nearly being the center of the world through many empires, along with a uniquely diverse landscape differing from the rest of the Middle East, has made it such a desirable place. But also, this means Lebanon is no stranger to war. In the last few decades, Lebanon has seen its fair share of wars, atomic-level blasts, high-profile assassinations, financial meltdowns, regime-shifting revolutions, a large influx of refugees, and political turmoil that kept the country presidentless for years.
In southern Beirut, there was a strike next to the biggest government hospital in the country.
There has been a huge explosion in the Lebanese capital, Beirut.
From a flourishing economy to civil war, Lebanon has seen it all.
Dating back to the days of the Phoenicians during early 3000 BC, to the Roman and Byzantine era, to the Islamic Caliphate's Ottoman Empire and French Mandate in the early 1900s, which had then led to Lebanon's independence in 1943, Lebanon has been rebuilt so many times. And unlike any other country in the region, Lebanon's name, history, and civilization have been tied to the legendary phoenix bird, with its golden wings and eternal ability to resist death and rise from the ashes once again. And bringing this timeline closer to now, since independence, Lebanon has gone through 7 major war and crisis-related situations over the past 80 years, starting with the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, where Lebanon joined other Arab nations in the 1948 war against Israel, resulting in an influx of Palestinian refugees into Lebanon, which led later into the 1958 brief civil unrest, with tensions between pro pro-Western and pro-Arab factions, which led to a brief civil conflict, and we saw the US intervention to stabilize the country. A couple of decades later, from 1975 to 1990, Lebanon faced a civil war, displacing nearly 1 million people in a country with a population of just 3 million at that time. The war left behind a staggering death toll of 150,000 lives, over 300,000 wounded or permanently handicapped, and 17,000 people still missing to this day. The conflict's damage to infrastructure and resources was estimated at a whopping $25 billion. While all this was happening, in parallel, Israel invaded Lebanon both in 1978 and 1982, leading to Israel occupying parts of southern Lebanon until 2000, when Hezbollah forced Israel to withdraw. Fast forward a couple years to 2006, which was the Israel-Hezbollah war, which lasted 34 days between Israel and Hezbollah and resulted in widespread destruction, particularly in southern Lebanon. And just 2 years later, on May 7th, 2008, Lebanon witnessed a significant political and security crisis when tensions between the government and Hezbollah escalated as the government attempted to shut down Hezbollah's private telecommunications network. This sparked violent clashes in Beirut and surrounding areas, with Hezbollah and its supporters briefly seizing control of parts of the capital. The crisis was ultimately resolved by the Doha Agreement, which resulted in a power-sharing agreement and restored peace, although the events highlighted the deep divisions within the country. Almost over a decade later, from 2019 until present, Lebanon has faced a severe economic crisis, political instability, and mass protests against government corruption. The country has seen its currency collapse, leading to widespread poverty, years where there was almost no fuel or electricity, and the infamous Beirut blast, which claimed the lives of hundreds and injured thousands. Parallel with all of this happening in Lebanon, the neighboring country of Palestine and Israel's complex and ongoing conflict, which has persisted for 80 years, significantly escalated on October 7th, 2023, when Hamas launched an attack on Israel, claiming the lives of over 1,200 innocent civilians and taking hundreds as hostages, which then Israel framed the response to be, quote, necessary and equivalent by escalating the situation with a response that was over 40 times worse, which ended up killing over 40,000 Palestinians, in which many countries, especially in the Middle East, are describing it as a genocide and leaving millions displaced with no access to resources, infrastructure completely destroyed, and no access to supplies with nowhere to go. And this all happened within just 12 months. Going back to the day after Hamas attacked on October 8th, Hezbollah launched what they called a support front for Gaza, aiming to distract Israeli forces and share the fight. Their missiles targeted military bases on Israel's northern edge, while Israel responded with airstrikes on empty areas. For 11 months, both followed the rules of engagement, keeping the conflict limited. For most Middle East experts, war between the two countries was inevitable. The only question was, when would it begin? Following almost a year of ongoing fire exchanges between Israel and Hezbollah at the Lebanon-Israel border, Israel took the conflict to a new level in late July with the targeted assassination of Hezbollah's second-in-command. Days later, Israel launched an unprecedented security breach when thousands of pagers used by Hezbollah exploded at once across Lebanon. The attack left many dead and over 3,000 injured, including key Hezbollah fighters and logistical personnel, in what many saw as an attempt by Israel to provoke Hezbollah into a full-scale war. Hezbollah, caught off guard by the pager explosions, was left to assess how Israel had managed to plant explosives in their communication devices. Hezbollah vowed harsh retaliation. Meanwhile, Israel bolstered its forces along the northern border with Lebanon and escalated its attacks on Hezbollah's missile launch platforms. The conflict took another sharp turn on September 20th when Israel launched a devastating airstrike on an apartment building in Dahieh Dahieh, a Hezbollah stronghold in Beirut. The attack killed at least 45 people, including 16 Hezbollah fighters, one of whom was a high-ranking commander. In retaliation, Hezbollah targeted military factories deep inside the Israeli city of Haifa, a move that represented a significant expansion of the conflict beyond the usual range of attacks and signaled the potential for even further escalation. September 23rd was the breaking point. The border exploded into chaos, and the war that everyone feared finally ignited. Israeli airstrikes intensified across southern Lebanon, the Bekaa Valley, and Dahieh in Beirut. Hundreds were killed or injured, with widespread destruction. Airstrikes hit homes, roads, and even medical facilities, leaving civilians in panic, fleeing from the south towards Beirut. Some found shelter with family, others in public schools, while the least fortunate slept in tents on roads and sidewalks. This being my 21st time in Lebanon, I never felt the way I did right now as I was landing into the Beirut airport. In this moment of Lebanon's history, it is arguably the most dangerous place I have ever stepped foot in, being in an active war zone.
Fouad here, who's a legend. Honestly, the whole plane ride for 3 hours, my heart was pounding because you just don't know where the next strike's going to be right now here in Beirut. And Fouad was insisting on picking me up, and I was like, no, dude, I'd rather have a taxi. I just, like, any thought of putting anyone I know in danger was scaring the hell out of me. But Fouad was like, bro, I'm gonna get you. You got me, and I really appreciated that. We got out of some of the more tense areas that, honestly, an airstrike could happen at any moment. Bombs just rain.
It's been quite tense, not gonna lie. All the bad news you've been hearing, the bombardments, everything, it's not good news for Lebanon.
Yeah.
Even like if it's for some people far away, you know, at the end of the day, it's just we are all Lebanese, you know.
Yeah.
And it's been really difficult. But you know, during tough times, we are all united and we are all together. So that's what makes Lebanon strong.
100%.
In tough times, we are all united.
Always. One of my first encounters was with a close friend, Hasan, who's lived through the conflict right by the fire exchange zones for over a year. Now displaced with his family, he shared with me some of the intense moments from the onset of the violence, describing how it all unfolded until he finally reached a place of safety.
The day you and your family decided you had to leave the south, what was that last moment when you said, okay, we really have to leave, it's not safe here anymore?
So it was on Saturday. It was 2 days before all this like officially started.
Yeah.
There was drones since the beginning of the day. It was very loud. It was very intense.
Yeah.
It sounded like something was going to happen soon. So there was something that the Israelis usually do. It's called a fire belt. They would bomb a place like a village, all around the village, with intense airstrikes. This is what was happening. So we knew it was going to get bad. So we packed our things. We went to Beirut, we headed to Beirut. Then our neighbors told us that at that night it was very, very intense. It was even more intense than during the day. Monday morning is where everything started and where like the massacres started happening, and all South Lebanon was bombed heavily. 500 people died in one day. This is the Israelis' way of saying to people, you should leave. It was like almost 500,000 people leaving one place at one time. Some of my relatives, even it took them like 12 hours to reach Beirut from south.
Wow,
like
which is normally like an hour and a half drive,
Yeah.
to put that in context, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's an 80 kilometer, maybe 100 kilometer at most distance, and they slept on the street or in their cars until they reached Beirut. Even many of them, there are footage where there's a place called Dahieh. It's on the way from south. It's before Saida. So some people were stuck on the way, and then there were bombings near them. Well, they can't go anywhere. You literally can't go anywhere. You're stuck, and there's bombing happening near you. We had our clothes prepared since 1 year, at least some of them.
Really?
So we always had our clothes in bags that we take, we wear, and then we wash, and then we pack again in bags.
Just in case this
Yeah,
would
just
happen.
in case, exactly. Not mentioning the sonic booms that were happening daily, most daily, at a daily basis. The sonic booms are even much worse than the drones.
Yeah.
It's like a way to remind you we're there, we're coming for you.
During the ongoing war, Israel has targeted Hezbollah leaders and key fighters, employing a range of lethal strategies, from sophisticated drone attacks that zero in on specific human targets to high-profile assassinations using 2,000-pound bunker-busting bombs that left entire neighborhoods in ruins. And these attacks had one tragic constant: a profound loss of innocent lives. This relentless threat filled Lebanese citizens with a lingering fear, the worry that the next strike could hit right next door or even on their own doorstep.
This uncertainty that you feel, it's not you feel once, you feel every single second. Sometimes it gets intense where you feel, are they going to bomb my house? Should I sleep and forget, or maybe stay awake? Like maybe if I sleep, if I die, I will not feel it. If I'm awake and my house gets bombed, I will feel it. You start having these thoughts of how do you want to die? It's like you want to make it more or less painful.
With Israel's military machine targeting Hezbollah strongholds in southern Lebanon, Beirut's southern suburb, and the Bekaa Valley, the nation found itself split. Some areas were devastated by daily bombardments, while others, home to Christian, Druze, and Sunni communities deemed less strategic for Israeli attacks, were spared from direct attacks, but not from fear. Bashir, a social media influencer, described the constant sense of uncertainty and stress felt even in these relatively untouched regions.
So how has this conflict affected your daily life, even though you're not directly involved with the actual fighting or conflict side of things?
I live in the mountains. I'm far from Dahieh and all these bombing areas. بس yes, بخاف على الناس عن جد اللي بيقربوني, my friends, كل رفقاتي اللي هن ساكنين يعني قراب من الانفجارات وقراب من محل ما عم بيجيوا هالصواريخ. اكيد كل يوم عايش على اعصابي, بطمن عنهم كل شوي, يعني حرام اللي يعني always on stress, every day reading the news. اللي عم بيصير شيء كثير مرعب.
What types of things have you been involved in during this time in order to help the people of Lebanon?
وجربنا نأمنهم فرشات, جربنا نأمنهم خبز, مي, اشياء البريورتيز يعني هودي, حتى احنا عم نعمل واجباتنا يعني.
We're working with organizations to help out some of the people. See, it's some of those sounds. That's one of those things, after being here for a while, you hear a loud car noise and you sometimes think that might be one of the fighter jets flying over. It's an intense time, and this is what people are living through right now, guys. As some of you probably know, I know Lebanon super well, and that is for the reason being that I have come here 21 times now, and throughout that time, I have only experienced people that have hearts of gold. Now, a lot of these people are the ones that are caught in between this conflict, and today I am raising money to help organizations who are down, boots on the ground, as airstrikes are flying over them, just to risk their lives to be able to feed some of the innocent families who have been displaced. There's been over 1 million people displaced from the south of Lebanon already. We are coming together to try and be there for them, provide them food, provide them shelter, beds, mattresses, medical supplies, things like that. And it's all thanks to you guys and your donations. And this is a cause that means a lot to me. Lebanon has been an amazing, amazing place for me. There are innocent families here that are caught in between what's going on, that need food, and they need your support. So thank you guys so much for that consideration.
On the 23rd of September, war erupted in Lebanon. Thousands of families, mothers, fathers, children, have all been forced to flee their homes, leaving behind everything they've ever known, with nothing but the clothes on their backs. In a heartbeat, they found themselves cut off from food, water, medical care, the basic necessities we all take for granted. Their situation grows more dire each day, but there is hope. Action for Humanity and DCA are on the ground right now.
Hey guys, my name's Fouad Assaf, and this is
Dahieh Ghazawi from DCA.
And I'm from Action for Humanity with DCA on the ground in Lebanon, inside right now.
Providing essential aid, shelter, hot meals, clean water, hygiene kits, blankets, medical care, and psychosocial support. Your donation can save lives by providing more food, water, and critical supplies to those who have lost everything. Every dollar matters. Every dollar saves lives. Together, we can bring hope and safety to families in desperate need. Please consider donating today and make a difference.
This is a very special message to World Nomac and all of your beautiful followers all across the world and your donors. You have raised an incredible $1,000. Woo! That is amazing. May God bless every single one of you. That will be providing hundreds and hundreds of hot meals for the residents of this shelter right here. All of these people will be having a hot meal because of you.
As I was looking out from up in the mountains, I couldn't help but to replay all of the memories I have had here in Lebanon over the past 3.5 years that I was in and out of the country. Prior to arriving in 2021, it was a country the media had portrayed as an active war zone back then, which I later found out to be the complete opposite. But sadly, what I had once imagined it to be like in 2021 is the actual state in which Lebanon is in now. Most of my life, Lebanon was just a country I never knew much about, as it was always portrayed for the wrong reasons. This made me and most others around the world commonly and unknowingly look past the countless hardships the people of Lebanon faced, besides for the few moments that caught our attention during a brief set of breaking news clips flashing on our TV screens. And this is how it currently is for many around the world. Well, let me share a different perspective. Everything changed for me the summer of 2021 when my friend Luke Demand and I visited and got to experience why Lebanon is one of the greatest in the world. My journey learning about this geographically small yet incredibly diverse land has been filled with some of the most hospitable and kind individuals I've ever met. It is an understatement to say that the people of Lebanon have hearts of gold, and I have felt that from the second I stepped into this country. A stranger you meet in the street is willing to give you the shirt off their back, or the local shopkeeper who will refuse to take your money to honor you being a guest, or the new friend you meet who is willing to battle you till the end to pay the bill. The examples are endless. I have been blessed to spend a lot of my time in Lebanon over the past 3.5 years, and I have come to know many places around the country and much about the Lebanese culture. I can tell you with absolute certainty that this is a country that is like no other after visiting 65 other countries. One that is home to beautiful people, so beautiful I even found my life partner there along with one of my best friends. For people who don't know Lebanon, everyone has their reasons why they love the country. Whether it's the ability to ski and swim in the same day with just a 20-minute drive from the mountains to the beach, or party until the dawn at some of the world's greatest nightlife establishments, or enjoy the cuisine backed by thousands of years of Tata's cooking, or to spend an afternoon in Beirut, the best beach town, or enjoy a Sunday family lunch, or simply walk through the Roman ruins of Baalbek, or run around the extensive beaches in Janub, hike through some of the otherworldly places, or simply enjoy an argele in the souks of Byblos, which is one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited places. Whatever it might be, there is an infinite amount of reasons to love this country. As an outsider, I've never experienced the insane amount of hardships that the people of Lebanon have experienced, from the Beirut explosion to the many wars to the horrific currency crisis, gas crisis, or electricity crisis, and many other challenges that this place has faced. But no matter what they have encountered, what I have experienced is that Lebanese people are some of the strongest and most resilient people who appreciate life and celebrate it more than any others I've ever seen. Seeing all of the innocent people caught between this conflict and leaving their homes is nothing short of heart-wrenching. After spending a few days in Lebanon, I decided today would be the day to head into Beirut, starting in the morning and get closer to what life is like for the people affected here in Lebanon. Yeah, as you can see, I'm on the main road from the airport right now, and there is just nobody out, and that is because it is early in the morning, but it's also because at any moment these areas could be hit with airstrikes. Going through tunnels like this right now, there's nothing scarier, because it's like at any moment, if like an airstrike or something like that were to happen, it's such a long bridge, it's terrifying to say the least. You can see all these cars are parked here. A lot of these are people that have had to move up from the south area. Just so many cars parked on the side of the highway here. It's just a really, really tough sight to see. One of the crazy parts about being in Lebanon right now, proof, that's Le Mall right there, check it out, is it shows, just more proof, that I am in Jordan. So right now I was on my way to a destination, and now I just can't go there because the GPS just is now trying to route from 4.5 hours away at the Queen Aliyah airport in Amman, Jordan. So even basic stuff like trying to get to your destination, you can't do it. And the GPS will cut out at random times. Maybe in 5 minutes it'll work again, maybe in 2 hours, you don't know. My heart's just pounding. You get, like, the drone is just constantly going, and it's like, like it's just, my heart and my anxiety is just freaking pounding at all moments here. And honestly, I'm probably being not dramatic enough as it actually is. And I've just been stuck in locked traffic here for like 30 minutes. Like, if something happens right now, there's nowhere to freaking go. And like, yeah, I'm scared right now, I'm not gonna lie. But like, a lot of people will be in a neighborhood and they've been told they gotta evacuate, then they'll get stuck in this landlocked traffic. So it's just, this is just what people are dealing with right now. It's freaking intense as
From the very first hours of the conflict, it was evident that the Lebanese government was unprepared for the flood of displaced people pouring into the capital's streets. Already crippled by one of the worst economic crises in history, the nation was battling sky-high poverty, inflation, and unemployment. As official institutions struggled to provide adequate aid, the Lebanese people took matters into their own hands. NGOs, local charities, social media influencers, expatriates, and countless supporters of Lebanon united to bring desperately needed relief to those forced to flee their homes at a moment's notice. One of those stepping up was Jad, a content creator who, along with a large group of other influencers, left everything behind to help fellow Lebanese survive and persevere through this crisis.
Here, this is Life with Jad right here.
My man,
brother, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for creating content about the country.
Can you give us a little like update on what you guys are up to here?
So this bag has enough goodies for a family for 3 days in a row, from raw materials to canned goods to milk to we also give them bread, water, toiletries, kitchen supplies, and everything. As you can see here, we have blankets, because now many displaced people are in abandoned schools and they don't have any blankets, any pillows, even mattresses, detergents, clothes. So people are donating everything, and they're sending us money from around the world, and we're using the money to create food boxes.
Wow.
So we're like 20 influencers from Lebanon. We gathered together to bring as much funds from outside, because, as you know, the government not active at all.
And what's it been like for people here? What are some of the stories you've heard, like just when it comes to evacuating the south?
Bro, it's the hardest thing anyone can go through, honestly, because imagine you have minutes to leave your house, to abandon everything you've worked all your life for, your business, your house, your family, your village, and just go with no destiny. Like, you don't know where you're going anyways. So you just have to go somewhere, and now they're in schools.
And if people want to support, how can they join in to support?
Money donations, volunteers, and now the government stepped in with something called Dahieh al-Aliyah, which is the major committee of crises. And they're going to take that fund and get volunteers and help out as much as they can.
Okay, so you can really increase that number majorly then.
And there's like 25 NGOs that you can donate to, and also there's volunteering website where you can put your name in, and then they will circulate it around.
That's amazing. Yeah, so I'll put all that information down so you guys can find it, and you can contribute to what they're doing here. It is my 4th day now in Lebanon. I decided to fly in for a number of different reasons, because what's happening here in Lebanon is absolutely intense. It is my 21st time in Lebanon, and obviously this time is completely different than any other time I've ever experienced. I'm here with Fouad.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Of course, it's always good to be with Fouad, but I wish it were in better circumstances than what's going on right now in the country. How has the progression been? I know no one expected anything to just basically go like this in no time, but what was it like from your perspective as a civilian living around here and even being far and from what you've heard from people in Beirut?
Yes, fortunately, yes. I live far from Beirut, but like, it doesn't matter where the person lives. We're all Lebanese under one umbrella. We are under one umbrella called Lebanon, and we're proud of it. But like the whole country felt unsafe, and the whole country felt this feel of uncertainty because like you don't know like what is safe and what is not safe around you. You know, you start doubting things like maybe this is gonna explode, or maybe this is gonna like do something. It's really scary, you know.
So guys, we've just made it now to a mountain, I guess you could call it a pretty large hill that looks over Beirut, and we're going to be getting pretty close to where we see some of the smoke rising off the buildings here.
You can hear the sirens.
Oh my gosh, look at this, ambulance, 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 ambulance. This is what my fiance Mabel's been telling me every day. You just constantly hear ambulances around Lebanon. And she also mentioned, especially when the airstrikes happened like 6-7 days ago, a lot of them were flying a little bit further north into Lebanon. And when you just hear a loud noise, a car screeching or a dumpster bin closing, anything, it's just, they're living in this trauma right now that you're just like, what was that at all moments? And it's just a really scary and traumatic time.
I heard another explosion.
Oh my god.
I hear it, like you can hear it. It's like thunder.
Where we were driving from, is that considered Dahieh?
Yeah, next to us where we're seeing the smoke. Right now we're in Ashrafiyah.
We're coming near Shia, which is another spot they have been bombing. I don't know if they're
Dahieh is directly next to us. Shia is over there.
Shia is over
Look
there.
at the smoke here.
Wow.
That was the recent bomb.
Wow. Holy.
Yeah. Dahieh is very close to us.
Guys, and look at this, just driving towards Beirut. Smoke covering the city. I mean, we are just a mile and a half from where airstrikes were hit. You got it there, you got some smoke coming up from right here. We are near the heart of all of this. Right here in the downtown Beirut area. This is kind of the main highway that runs through it, and I mean, it's not considered downtown Beirut. This is just kind of right next to the coast here. We've got the port where the infamous blast had happened. A lot of this area has been rebuilt. A lot of these buildings were either completely destroyed or had all of their glass blown out here. Now that was about 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago, but I'm gonna pause that thought for 1 second. As you can see right here to the side, there's a lot of like accidents happening at this time just simply because a lot of people are on edge. So it's a scary time. A lot of people don't have the resources to just be able to pack up and, you know, rent out a place on the other side of the country. So, you know, they try and grab as much as they can and they get out of there. And so it's a scary time.
Now 12 o'clock is like some sort of a jinx time. It's like usually this is where around 12 a.m. this is where the Israelis start the raids, especially in the southern suburb of Beirut.
Like so, from midnight on.
Yeah.
This is like the dark hours.
Yeah, but it's not like specifically like this. I mean, they could do it anytime, but because of what happened, at least throughout the couple of weeks, it's like people think we should stay awake because we want to know what will happen if there's any danger.
During the week I was there, I got a glimpse of what it's like for people in Lebanon right now. I was actually up in a place known as Brumana, which is right up in the mountains next to Beirut for a few evenings, and even from there, about 10 kilometers away, I could see the explosions lighting up the night. The blasts were so loud, it felt like they were happening just down the street. This was every night for people in Lebanon, and still it is right now. Israel posts evacuation warnings on social social media, and these aren't just general warnings. They included detailed maps, aerial views, marking the exact neighborhoods they were going to hit. The buildings and areas in southern Beirut are highlighted in red squares, and each warning comes out with just a narrow time window for people to get out, leaving people with the need to sleep always with one eye open. It has been unreal watching people scramble to leave, families grabbing what little they could, their kids, a few belongings, and anything they could carry, running into the night. The streets filled up quickly with people fleeing, just hoping they had enough time to get away from the incoming destruction. Seeing all of this firsthand, the fear and urgency is everywhere. This has become the nightly routine for residents in South Beirut, and the tension just keeps building. But is the world community watching closely enough? Are they doing everything possible to end the war here? Some of the Lebanese people I spoke with seemed to think differently. When asked about Lebanon's future and the chances for peace, a sense of indifference emerged, a response that hints at a deep questioning of the sincerity of global leaders in truly seeking an end to this war.
I don't think the world knowing what's happening will change a lot, in my opinion, from how things have been happening. I mean, everybody knows what happened in Gaza throughout this year. So even if people knew what really is happening, I don't think it will change anything.
Of course, there is war between the two countries, but the people who are being affected are civilians, babies, and paramedics, and journalists, more than the people they're targeting. We need to shed the light that what's happening in Lebanon is a regional conflict that's being settled on our lands, and it's not fair for the people.
Regarding a resolution, I don't think it will happen soon, at least. I think things, actually my expectation, it's more like things will get worse, more death will happen. Politicians will have, on all sides, will have very high ambitions, and they will try to take their chance and get as much as they can. This is what's going to happen.
نحن رايحين على المجهول, uncertainty at all. فأول شغلة لازم توقف الحرب، لأنه نحن معروفين اللبنانية بالحياة، بحب الحياة، بالسهر، بالترافلينج، بكل شيء. نحن يعني أكثر شعب بحب يعيش.
There is no more important of a time than now when the world must remember that all lives are equal. Do not let the innocent people just be another number and war casualty. Save the great people of Lebanon. The innocent should not pay the debts of war.